Chapter 23. The Rich Young Master and the Poor Young Lady 23. You would have known from the beginning, Violet was extremely angry, naturally thinking of the Graham family's bodyguard matter. That's right, Diana did not deny. Then you still want to come here, Miss Grant. You are really brave. Augustus wants to deal with your Helga family. I'm his fiancée. Naturally, I want to help him. Diana raised her head, looking at Violet, who was already starting to feel uneasy. He took advantage of you. You still want to help him. So what life in this world is all about taking advantage of each other. I am insignificant in the Grant family, but I don't want to be the same in the Graham family in the future. I helped Augustus with such a big thing this time, so he would feel guilty. Wanting to capture a man just liking him is not enough. Diana's eyes were indifferent. I have not suffered any loss. If Lily Grant had this kind of decisiveness, she would have long since become Mrs. Graham. Violet sneered, then picked up a short knife from the table. You're right. I'd better kill you now. Host 2333 urgently called out. From its voice, it could be heard concern. Diana calmly said, change hemostatic pills. Okay. 2333 quickly decided to use the integral to change a bottle of pills, then blocked in front of Diana. Although it was fundamentally unable to stop Violet from approaching, but Diana felt her chest warm. Her AI seemed to be getting more and more intelligent. Seeing Violet getting closer and closer, just as the blade was about to sweep towards her, Diana suddenly rolled on the spot, and Violet's stab missed. When did you open the handcuffs? Violet opened her eyes wide, somewhat in disbelief looking at Diana, who had already straightened her body. So long, Diana grinned while observing Violet, while removing the high heels on her feet. Violet was extremely angry, raising the dagger and immediately stabbed her over. Diana shook her body, then flew up and kicked her waist. Violet was just a spoiled eldest miss. Where could she stand this one kick? Her whole person fell onto the ground. The dagger also flew out of her hand. Host did it beautifully. 2333 loudly praised. It almost forgot that the host was someone with a martial arts value of 70. Ordinary women were not her opponents at all. But with 4 more men, the situation was not good. Diana looked at the people who rushed over because they heard the commotion. One was Augustus' bodyguard, one was the driver, and the other 2 were Violet's bodyguards. She picked up the short knife on the ground, held it in her hand, then mercilessly grabbed Violet, her eyes calm and cold, and placed the knife on her neck. What do you want to do? Violet didn't dare to move, her voice trembling as she asked. Diana didn't respond to her, her gaze stopping on Augustus' bodyguard. You probably didn't betray the Graham family. The bodyguard was startled, shaking his head. Sir told me to watch out for you. Diana sneered. Watch out. Then looked at the other 3 men. Your young ladies are now in my hands. If you let me go now, at most the Helga family will fall into the Graham and Grant family's attack. There will be no threat to your lives. But if you don't plan on letting me go, then I will die anyway. I will kill your young ladies first. Then you all will not be able to escape. Let her go. Not waiting for the 3 people to respond, Violet first shouted out loud. She seemed to understand Luna Grant was a crazy woman. No wonder the other Grant family members couldn't fight her. No wonder Augustus would marry her. They were all the same crazy people. The 3 men saw this and immediately left the door. Augustus' bodyguards did their duty and covered in front of them to avoid them suddenly bursting out to hurt Diana. Diana kidnapped Violet to successfully escape from the house, just arrived in the yard, immediately heard a gunshot. Chapter 24. The Rich Young Master and the Poor Young Lady 24. There was a gunshot that said there was a struggle. Now was not a good time to go out. Diana thought for 2 seconds, then grabbed Violet and returned home, then decisively closed the door. You inform Helga's family. Diana's eyes were a bit cold. Although Diana had let go of her, Violet was still so scared that her teeth were trembling when she met her gaze. She lowered her head. It must be my brother who brought people here. He has been sending people to monitor me recently. It seems your brother also knows about this little thought of yours. Saying that your IQ is not enough is really not lying to you, Diana sarcastically said. Violet did not speak. She has always been arrogant. Today she was criticized at Diana's place. Her self-esteem was already hit. What was even more infuriating was that Diana still wanted to repeatedly mock her, but she was unable to retort, unable to hold back. After all, her waist was still extremely painful right now. She really did not dare to tease her again. Diana patiently sat on Violet's chair waiting for Augustus. Although she had not been together with him for very long, she was still full of confidence in his ability. Another 10 minutes passed, and a chaotic sound of footsteps came from outside. At this moment, Augustus was so nervous that he couldn't even maintain his usual demeanor. After he knew where Diana was going, he ran over regardless of everyone's obstruction. When he got to the vicinity, he met Helga's family, and he immediately became angry. He directly took out his gun and shot the other party's tire. He had finally dealt with the other party, and even ordered someone to tie up the Helga family's eldest young master. He immediately rushed into the small courtyard. When he raised his head, he could only see the situation of the other 3 men blocking the second-floor corridor. Where is she? Where is Luna Grant? How are you going to protect her? He immediately grabbed the bodyguard's neck, and without waiting for him to reply, he threw him aside. Standing outside the door, he took a deep breath. He wanted to push the door open and enter, but found that his hands were shaking terribly. So it turned out that he was so afraid of losing her. The sudden realization almost knocked him down. He prayed countless times in his heart that his Luna was safe and sound, then slowly pushed open the door. The next second, he felt the entire world brighten up. Clearly just an ordinary house. But after seeing her, it became filled with morning sunlight, shining brightly. Augustus, you've arrived. He heard Diana say so. Then he was like a young boy, couldn't help but rush in and pull her whole person into his embrace. You're fine. You're really fine. Augustus tightly hugged her, as if wanting to rub the small, pretty body in his embrace into his soul. Diana didn't expect him to react so strongly. After a moment, she reached out and gently hugged his back, softly reassuring him, I'm fine. Don't worry. I'm not hurt. They didn't even touch me. You don't need to worry so much. Mission completed 93 cold an organic voice rang in Diana's ear. Boss Graham is indeed a mission god. Diana silently glanced at 2333. In terms of ruining the atmosphere, no one could compare to it. After a long while, Augustus finally calmed down. He squatted down to help Diana put on that pair of gorgeous crystal high heels. When he raised his head, his eyes were a little hot. Luna, let's get married early. Diana's heart was a little complicated at this moment. Augustus like this, he wore shoes for her. His eyes seemed to contain tears. Luna couldn't refuse. She herself seemed to also couldn't refuse. Her heart skipped a beat. Okay, Diana heard herself reply. The next second, she was hugged tightly in his arms again, and at this moment, she felt an unprecedented sense of security.